So this is the Remains from Australia, country rock and roll. Let's let it rip. It's great. I've actually got Mick from the band, frontman, live on the phone right now. He's calling from Wells in British Columbia. There's a festival happening up there this weekend, so let's try to patch him through now. Hello, Mick.
Yep.
Yep, you're live on air here on CiTR 101.9 FM in Vancouver, and you've made it up to Wells.
Yeah, we just drove here, long drive today from the small town of Rolla, way up in the north.
In northern BC, or was that Alberta?
Yeah, in BC.
Oh, great. Okay. And Mick and the band are no shy to touring. This is your third trip back to Canada?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Definitely, like from everything I've read about you online, is that you're definitely road warriors in the traditional sense, and not afraid to clock out the miles. How did the first trip to Canada come about?
Well, that was we were looking at going overseas somewhere. We were thinking about the States, and we had just it's not easy to get into the States, as everyone knows. It's tough for a band, and finding gigs was tough as well. Getting, obviously there's a lot of competition over there and a lot of great bands. And then Mick Thomas from Weddings Plays Anything.
Yeah.
He's an old friend of mine. He suggested to me that we try Canada because Weddings used to tour here a lot in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, right.
And he suggested we try Canada, and I applied for a few festivals and we got them. Ness Creek and the North Country Fair and the New Music West in Vancouver and a few others, and we got into these festivals, and I made a bunch of phone calls and emails and got a heap of gigs, so we just said, bugger, we'll go to Canada. And the rest is history. We landed and everything just went right. It was just meant to be. Had a fantastic time and a great tour, and bought a great vehicle, landed and bought this beautiful old Chev van, which we called Curtis, and he drove us faithfully on 2 very extensive tours.
And I know you connected at one time with Joey Only from the Joey Only Outlaw Band, and I actually worked with him down here in Vancouver, and he mentioned a tale of how you guys kind of got together, and there was a van involved. Did you want to tell the listeners a little bit about how that came about?
Yeah, well, that was the same van. I can't actually remember how we met Joey, but through someone. We ended up staying with Joey before we first landed in Canada for a bit, and I can't remember what the connection was now. But anyway, Joey's up at this festival too. He's actually living up here now. He's moved up here.
Yeah, he
and Leah, his partner, are getting married tomorrow here at the festival.
That's right. He just packed his bags. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I can't actually remember right now off the top of my head how we met. But we ended up staying with him for a while, and when we came back to Vancouver, we stayed with Joey again, and when we came out on our second tour, we stayed with Joey and Leia again for a while, and we left Curtis the van with him the first time, picked him up again, re-registered him, and drove him off again. And then when we came back, we toured on the second tour in 2009. We toured with Joey and the Joey Only Outlaw Band for about 3 weeks through BC.
Yeah.
And then we left him and went off on our other tour. Went off touring the rest of the place, and we came back. We came back on the last day. The last day, this beautiful old van died. Well, virtually was dying on us. We just got back to the airport. Joey got the van, and then he took it up to Wells, and it died. So it's somewhere up here in the mountains.
Oh, it might be.
I don't know where, but we want to find out off Joey where he is, so we can go and do a pilgrimage and see him, because it was a beautiful old van.
That's right. Well, and definitely, and Joey, definitely a good contemporary of you guys keeping the spirit of outlaw country alive.
Absolutely.
And so this tour, I'm looking at this extraordinary run of dates. Unfortunately, not through Vancouver. Hopefully next time. How come you're not playing here?
Oh, well, we just we had a great connection in Calgary. Brad, who runs Beetroot magazine. Yeah. He loves the band, and he's a good friend of ours. And basically, the last 2 tours, we've basically driven everywhere we could. We drove landed in Vancouver and drove across the Rockies and up through BC and all the way over to Montreal and Toronto, and that was great. And, we covered a lot of territory and saw a lot of Canada, but this time we wanted to sort of concentrate a bit on Western Canada, because that seems to be the area where people get it the most, and we've been told by a number of people that they think that we have the authentic Albertan country rock sound, including Carmel. I can't remember her second name at the moment, but Carmel's the wife of John from the Stony Pot Plain Saloon, which is out near Edmonton, and John used to road manage a lot of bands, a lot of country rock bands, and even bands like ZZ Top and Blackburn Turner Overdrive and bands like that.
Wow.
Now, Carmen, his wife, was a great country rock singer in the 70s. She was a very well-known Canadian country rock singer. I think she was, she had a number of hits and stuff. She was a really well-known country rock singer and played with a number of the top Canadian acts. And we stayed with them recently, and we're actually playing there again next week, I think. And they have all the Albertan country rock acts come through there. And anyway, she said to us she considered us to have the authentic sound, and a number of other people have said that. So I don't know. We're just. I think people get it more here than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Not that we sort of aim at that sound. We've evolved our own kind of sound, I guess. But it just seems to chime with Western Canada, and the same in Saskatchewan. We've got a really good fan base in Saskatchewan. We played the Nest Creek Festival there 3 times, and every time we play in Saskatchewan, in Saskatoon, we pack out Lydia's, and they just seem to really get it over here. So we thought we'd concentrate in this area, and it's been really, really a good idea. It's been really fruitful, and we've made a lot of connections, and got a lot of new fans, sold a lot of CDs.
Oh, that's wonderful. And many years to come of many more tours ahead and more miles. And the song we actually just played before you came on air, Left to King, I want to sort of bring it back to Australia now. Is that left on King Street in Sydney? And is that where you're sort of based otherwise when you're not on the road 200 times a day?
I used to live there back in the day, but I live up on the North Coast now, up near Byron Bay.
Oh, right, okay.
That song's kind of lamenting the way Sydney used to be. It used to be, rock city. Yeah. It used to be I used to play in bands there, and it was just a really happening place. But after the Olympics, it kind of got corporatised pretty heavily, and the music scene kind of tended to die a lot, as I knew it anyway.
Yeah. That's right. Things change, but it's so good to see a band like yours that are just willing to just work hard and make something, and don't just wait for something to come to you. And it's amazing. This CD that we played the track off. So am I right that this is a Canadian only release?
Those songs, those 6 new. There's 6 new songs and 6 older songs like live recordings. Yeah. But that's actually. We did a bunch of recordings from 2006 to 2009 and got a heap of tracks, and that's actually we released that as the Canadian version of the album Inland Sea in 2009, and then because those are the ones that were finished, that were mastered and ready to go, and then we used the rest of that stuff on the Australian version, and then we had another 6 tracks left over which we used on this current thing. So it's kind of like one long recording session, that one studio yielded kind of basically 3 albums. So it was a pretty good recording session. Okay.
And it's so that the CD is called Courage and Shuffle the Cards. It's by The Remains. Yeah. I'm talking here with Mick Daly, and we'll let you go pretty soon to get back to Wells. But before we play some more music, I just wanted to ask you too about Australia. And I mean, I grew up there in Canberra, and was, I guess, inundated with what was on Triple J, and I can't think of country rock as a genre in Australia. Many other artists that really have made a name for themselves, and I'm wondering about your influences. I mean, I can think of like Tim Rogers and the Temperance Union, but that's Tim Rogers on a sort of side project. You mentioned Mick Thomas. Are there any other sort of older Australian bands that have informed your sound, or do you more draw on the American and the Canadian?
No, well, there definitely is that, like, and there's always the Johnny Cashes and whatever, but I mean, Paul Kelly's an influence, and he had what we do isn't necessarily country anyway, it's kind of, it's just songs, but we use country instrumentation, Country's kind of more, I don't know, it's more about just travelling in the country a lot, and because we do, as well as playing the cities and the coast, we play inland a lot. We go bush, and we go to Darwin, and we go to Broken Hill, and places like that. But there was great Australian country bands, like country rock bands, like the Johnnies. Oh. And even the Beast Suburban had their sort of country tinges. Yeah. And there was a band called the Danglin Brothers in the 80s. Australia had a real tradition in the 80s and 90s, and a lot of older stuff that I'd never really got into, but like the Dingoes,
yeah,
and stuff like that. So Australia has definitely there isn't much of a scene at the moment, and what there is mainly in Melbourne.
Yeah,
and that's more what you'd probably just call alt country, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
But probably my greatest influence of American bands is Green on Red.
Huh.
They were a great sort of country punk band from the 80s and 90s.
Right.
Of course, there's always the Graham Parsons and the Johnny Cash and all that stuff. But I mean, I'm certainly not a mainstream country person at all. You know, it's all much more what you would call old country. We call it country rock and roll because we've got a pretty raucous edge to it.
Yeah, that's right. And definitely, I can see such kinship with Joey Only, because he definitely makes a lot of quality songs based in real life and something
that's
more.
The thing. It's about real stuff. I mean, to me, country music, mainstream country music's a lot of rubbish. You know?
Oh yeah.
it's about a pretend world. You know, the perfect world of the redneck where everyone drives utes and everyone. Blah blah blah, white bread kind of white bread existence, and everyone's rich and happy and drive trains and utes. I don't know. To me, it's just a complete fantasy. Whereas Joey and myself, we just like to write about the real life and what happens and what's happened and what we want to happen. Yeah, and it's reasonably political as well, and I think that's something that's any politics and any mainstream country thing is pretty much structurally implies, the conservative world. That's definitely not what we're into.
That's right. Well, it's been wonderful to chat with you, Mick, from the Remains, and we'll press on now and play another track from Courage and Shuffle the Cards.
And that review you did a record was great too.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, definitely. I've been listening to the record the last couple of weeks, and I just love it. So please say hello to Joey for me up there, and have a great gig. The Remains are playing at Wells Arts Festival. Is that like tomorrow, or
we're playing tonight?
Tonight.
Tomorrow we go to Jasper. We play a gig in Jasper. Then the following night we also play in Jasper supporting Fred Eaglesmith.
Oh yeah, yep.
And then we head back up north of Alberta, and then we come back down through Edmonton, through Stony Plain, down to Calgary, and we do a week's gigs in Calgary, and then we go home.
Excellent.